Jim, what have you got for us today? Looks like a one bowl meal.
Yeah, this was something I made on Super Bowl Sunday before the game. Sat down with it for the game, and when I originally went to the grocery store, I wanted to make more of like a brothy, spicy, peppery soup that you could eat with nachos. And as I was shopping around, I ended up going with orzo and maybe a thicker, hearty bowl.
Yes.
And the main thing that I love to do lately is roast all the vegetables in the oven and then macerate them down with a blender and just get that really like smoky, hearty flavor. So that's kind of the basis of this dish. And here we go. So this is the finished product.
Oh, already loving the avocado.
Looks fantastic.
I'm already ready for it.
So also, instead of using canned tomatoes, I decided I'll boil some fresh Roma tomatoes, and those aren't Roma tomatoes, but and then drop them in the ice bath, and then once you do that, the skins will just peel right off real easy.
Ice bucket challenge.
There they go.
Oh, I would eat that like an apple.
And then these are poblano peppers, and I roast them right on the grill on the gas stove.
I'm laughing because we thought poblano were the type of mushroom.
No.
What is that? How do you say that?
Those are poblano peppers right there. And so once you get them all charred, you drop them in to steam off in the paper bag. And then I start preparing the vegetables for roasting: garlic, eggplant, and then jalapenos. And then I use a little, the spoons you eat grapefruit with a little sharp edge. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, so I use those to get the stuff outside of the
Just call them tiny
jalapenos.
spoons.
And then we chop up some bell peppers and red and green.
Beautiful.
Bitter and sweet, all in one.
And then we douse them with some olive oil. There's also those mushrooms in there. Now you got me stumped. The big mushrooms there.
Yeah, aren't they? I thought they were like they start with
They're
a
not
P.
poblano. They are. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank.
Portobello?
Portobello. Oh
yeah.
my
Portobello
goodness! I can't
mushrooms.
believe we did that.
There you go, Nate.
Wow.
Thanks,
wow.
Nate.
As a lover of mushrooms,
So I got
slapped.
salt and pepper and crushed red pepper and a little sugar and cinnamon on top of all those, and then a little lemon juice. And that giant plate of vegetables on parchment paper is going to just slide into the oven and roast at about 425 for probably about 20 minutes. And there they go.
Love it.
And now we start to actually get ready to put stuff in the soup bowl. Just chop an onion.
Do you also have onion on that?
No, I didn't roast the onion. I instead just did it separate. And now you see how easy that skin comes off of those poblanos after it's been roasted on top of the stove. So that's why you do that method.
Seemed like it was a beautiful sunny day when you were doing this.
It was nice. It was Super Sunday.
Super Sunday. You're right.
But look at those roasted vegetables, how great they look. And so now we start to actually build I don't know if you want to call it a soup. It's a little thick for a soup, but olive oil, butter, and onions. And then I put a pretty hefty dose of Tabasco in there. And right now I'm just forming the base for what's going to ultimately be the flavor profile for this
Those look so good.
dish. And there's those peeled tomatoes.
I put those right on a sandwich right now.
And I just drop them in. And again, you can use canned San Marzano and just throw them in there too. But I didn't want it to be too red or too tomato wasn't the key thing in this broth. So anyways, a little salt and pepper there too. And now some fresh thyme. You're only going to see me peeling off one or two of these things, but I really did about 10 of them. Got a lot of fresh thyme in there.
This seems a little time consuming.
It is. It takes a little while. It's a labor of love. There's the garlic. The roasted garlic just squeezes right out. And now those are the roasted bell peppers. And the skins did burn on these, which I kind of wanted. There's the portobellos. I tear them up a little bit and just tossing everything in there. It's eventually all going to be blended up. Just cooking it down.
Yum.
There's the eggplant. Watch this. The roasted eggplant.
Beautiful.
Right out of its shell.
And there's the poblanos. Lots of
Oh.
poblanos because it's called the Poblano Orzo soup. So
On a scale 1 to 10, how hot are those?
they're probably a 6.
Okay.
And then we got some white wine, Riesling from Hosmer. And we just let that stew for a little while. And some vegetable broth.
Oh, smart.
Think that's smart? A smart move?
I looked at it and I said, oh, chicken broth.
Oh, yeah. No, we use mostly vegetable broth in my house.
Right. Makes sense.
And then, there we go with the boat motor. And this takes a while, but this is what it ends up looking like. So, brown, you can see some of those black flakes from the burnt skins. And that alone really was tasty. Of course, I tasted it to see if it needed any seasoning, and it didn't. And overnight, I soaked some black-eyed peas. So I add them. Stir them around, and then I cover it to really want the heat to get up and to just finish off those beans, and then to also cook the orzo, which orzo are just little pastas, little
I love
pastini
orzo.
pastas. And you can see how the heat's up. They only require about a minute at that high heat, so I stir them around a little bit, and in about a minute, you can lower the heat so you don't overcook it. Now I add some coconut milk because I believe in contrasting flavors. So we have a lot of spice in there. I want to just add a little sweetness. And right now it looks like that's going to be a lot, but it really isn't. After you stir it in for a while, you don't even notice it's in there, but just a little hint of sweetness. And then also to add sweetness, I dice up some sweet basil quite a bit. And then add that too. So you got the spice, you got the sweetness, and you also have that roasted vegetable, that hearty roasted vegetable flavor in there.
I would put this in the soup category.
Well, it looks
thick
like
and
soup now,
creamy.
but it thickens up because of the orzo. It thickens up quite a bit. But you could call it a soup.
It's crazy. You had all those beautiful colors, and then it turned into
Brown.
that brown color.
So now we're just prepping some avocado to go on top.
Ooh, that avocado is perfect.
And
Perfectly
then
ripe.
put some lime juice on the avocado just to make sure it doesn't start to turn brown. Chives also for the top. Gotta love some chives.
Mm-hmm.
Good knife skills. And then this is cojito cheese.
Oh.
And I probably should have just grated it, but I wanted some little chunks of it, so I did it by hand. In retrospect, I wish I just grated it and it probably would have looked a little better. But now we played it. There you go. Look how thick it has become.
Yeah.
It's not a
almost
soup,
chili
right?
consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. With Super Bowl Sunday, I didn't want to make chili, but I wanted to make something like chili. This had a decent amount of spice. You could, also eat it with tortillas if you want.
Yeah,
But-
you could almost just like dunk some tortillas or like soppy with some good old Italian bread. I feel like would be good.
Yeah,
for
I
that.
had some bread with this as well. So they're just going to put the avocados on top, and it's game time.
Not your average Super Bowl Sunday meal. And we talked about that before. You don't go basic with the pizza and wings. You try.
Well, if I was having a party, it was, but it was just me and my wife
The
and
fam.
daughter for the game. So, yep, there you go.
Beautiful.
That is perfect for meal prep.
Oh,
could
yeah,
make
right.
that on a Sunday, and just kind of doing the mental math in there, like there is a hearty amount of protein in that, and that's got some body. I feel like that would also the consistency would probably stay pretty good over the course of a few days in the
Yeah,
fridge.
that was Sunday. Today's Thursday, and it's still in the fridge. And I think we could get one more meal out of it if we wanted.
Now, you mentioned you could use canned tomatoes if you were going to. You would need to drain said tomatoes before you.
Yeah, I wouldn't go
Yeah,
with. I wouldn't put the liquid that they're canned with into this. Although you could, it's personal preference. But part of it to me is just like, oh, geez, maybe I'll just boil and peel the tomatoes this time. Just because, just on a whim. But yeah, I didn't want this to be red. I didn't want it to be a red result, a red soup, and I didn't want it to taste like Italian
Mhm.
soup. I wanted
Right.
it to be like kind of Mexican
Yeah.
style.
What
Delicious.
is if you're going to do it again at some point? What's one thing you would do differently next time around?
Maybe more poblanos.
Poblano,
Yeah,
not the mushroom, the pepper.
no, all those roasted vegetables just kind of form the base, and so that's why like the eggplant went in there. It just really all comes together to form this thick, tasty. Like I said, when we first blended that together, and I tasted it with the soup or with the spoon, I mean that could have stopped right there, put that in a bowl, and been pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I would do that.
But yeah, orzo is a cool thing. It's if you're talking about meal prep, that orzo will hold up 3 or 4 days longer than if you added rice.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
smart.
so
You
I was
better
really
try it,
I was
Josh.
really happy with it. And again, it's not like I didn't like go to the grocery store with a shopping list for a recipe. I had something in mind that I was going to do, and I kind of just loaded things up. You could go with cilantro too, in addition to the basil that I added.
That brain will never cease to amaze me
So-
with the things you come up with.
2 questions.
He likes this one for sure.
First, difficulty scale, 1 to 10.
Honestly, it's
Question.
probably like a 2. Like you saw it, I didn't do anything there that required much technique.
Right.
Just the roasting of the vegetables is the key part to taking that to the next level. Like you could have just diced up vegetables and sauteed them in the beginning with the onions and then blended it, but the roasting in the oven really brings out the flavor of all those vegetables.
Oh, you know what I just thought of?
What?
Throwing like a pico on top of that.
Ooh,
Yeah, that could work too. Yeah, like I said, you
Add a
could
little crunch.
here we go. I'm starting to get hungry.
You could add some tortilla chips on the side and some hot sauce. And as a matter of fact, when I did have it Tuesday night, I think I warmed some up on Tuesday night. I put some tiger sauce on top and
No way.
yeah.
No. Now you're making me want
Um,
Mexican, I think, for lunch.
So the last question then is overall, what do you give yourself? What's the score you're giving yourself? out of 10?
That one was a 9 out of 10. It came out a little better than I hoped.
You have
Impressive.
progressively
Impressive.
stayed in the 9s with your meals lately. Like, I remember when we first started this cooking session, you were like, I'm only going to give that one a 7. So maybe you're gradually getting better as these go on without even realizing it.
I don't know. Maybe I've cooked for so long now. I think I've plateaued. Although you always want to learn and get better, try different things, right?
Yeah, you should try something you've never done before, and you have to actually follow the recipe, and we should see how it comes out.
Yeah, maybe not found. If it could be anything. You ever
That's
try
a no.
making pasta at home?
Making
Anybody?
pasta?
Yeah.
No.
No, I can't believe. Well, I've made. However, the group wants to say it. I say Yankees. I've made Yankees before, which
Yeah.
is fun. They're easy though. I feel like, well,
They're kind of easy
When I was
if
a
there's
kid,
someone there
too.
that knows how to do
Yeah.
it. But if
but not actual pasta. I don't know.
Well,
There's
you-
not a
you-
lot to pasta.
no, pasta's very easy. I made it several times. I used to have a roller, which
Mhm.
helps a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't have that anymore. So I just generally haven't made pasta in a long time actually. But you can do it with a rolling pin too. You just
Okay, so I have a question about this because you're going down the I noticed it this past weekend when I was at Wegmans, going down the pasta aisle, and you've got your normal box pasta, then you've got bagged pasta, and I think
Ooh.
like
I
the
th-
fresh Wegmans pasta.
I think they're trying to sell it as fresh, but do we?
It's not as
do
good
we
as
know
making.
is
No, I don't like that stuff. Honestly, I don't mind the raviolis that they serve that way, but like the linguine or the angel hair, it's not the same as homemade pasta. It just isn't. It comes out a little.
But bagged
it's,
to
it's a
box.
fraud. It's a fraud, like I thought. So stick with the box stuff. That's just the way to go if you're buying it in a store. Unless you're going to go.
Yeah,
through the
you know
labor
what
of
I
making
do
it
like
from
though.
scratch.
I like the dried Wegmans pasta that's in the white bags. You know what I'm talking about? I think they're called amore or.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. I thought you
Those are
talked
the ones that I'm
about
talking-
over
not
next.
in the cooler section. The ones that
Okay.
are actually like
Yeah, no, those are the really good.
okay.
Oh.
I really like those, and you generally are getting some different shapes and cuts than you do from the national box pasta brands.
Yeah.
But what I'm not a big fan of is the stuff in the cooler section that's the fresh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It doesn't come out that good, I don't think.
While we're talking about it, can you weigh in on Wegmans brand canned things versus any other brand that you could pretend? Do you have a brand that you actually aim for when you're getting, for example, canned tomatoes or whatever the case
I like
may be?
Cento for the tomatoes.
Yeah. A classic.
Yeah. But you saw I used coconut milk Wegmans in that
Yep.
dish that we just did. And yeah, for whatever reason, I found like coconut milk from Wegmans is generally more consistent and reliable and maybe fresh, where sometimes I've gotten Goya and it just doesn't look as good when
Goya.
it comes out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do. I think I go kind of based on, had a bad experience with something. But the Wegman stuff is definitely good. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So go to
That's all-
Wegmans
that's all I
if you
have.
want to have a really good meal versus some of these
Well,
other
those
box
canned,
stores.
like just like Amazon makes their own products, Wegmans realized, oh, geez, we can make our own coconut milk or whatever and put it in the can and sell it for 25 cents less than Goya.
Well, so the one odd thing is, and I use Wegmans brand as the example here, but like their boxed pasta for whatever reason seems to, in my experience, cook more consistently than say a brand like Barilla.
Weird.
And I don't know if I don't even know if there's an actual reason for it.
I go for, well, you might figure that it probably may have been sitting in the box for maybe a month or two less than the others that are shipped. I'm not a big Berea fan, but I like the Seco, the brand that I used in that with that Orzo. That's a good box brand. Berea, in my experience, and a lot of it might be personal preference, just isn't quite
It's
as
overrated.
as good.
Stay away from the blue box people.
Josh, you just went through like your new shopping
sorry,
list.
I just ran us over here, but
It's
yeah.
okay. You were asking Jim, so when you go, you can be more prepared on having a better,
I'll be a little more
flavorful
ready.
meal.
Yeah.
But really, guys, that's